Hello everybody, today we are going to be diving into one great team fit, one player that every team needs to draft in the 2023 NFL draft that's coming up in just a short while. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. First up for the Buffalo Bills, I have Tyler Steen, the guard or tackle out of Alabama. He's got that positional versatility, which I think is very important. I think the Bills could use an upgrade at both spots really, and so Steen can provide that. If he can stick at tackle, you can put him on the right side, or if he is good at guard, you can play him there as well. Definitely think he has a nice flexibility there, and he can be a second to third round option to really strengthen the offensive line, help protect Josh Allen, which has become priority number one for the Bills. Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins. I have them going Sam Laporta, the tight end out of Iowa. Really thought he was just a complete tight end. He's not the best blocker. He's not the best vertical threat. He is very good after the catch, though. He brings great athleticism. He can be a big slot type that, they have to replace with Mike Gesicki leaving in free agency. Just really like what he can do. He's very impactful after the catch, which is something that they really like. They like scheming up guys into big spaces. That's Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in a nutshell, and really just letting them create in the space. I think Laporta can be that player for him, and he has just a great ability to be a weapon over the middle of the field for Tua, which I think is a big priority for them as well. For the Patriots, I have Cam Smith, the corner out of South Carolina. He really kind of fits their man-heavy scheme. He has had a meeting with the team. He has great attitude and mentality for the position. Definitely just somebody that likes to talk smack. He likes to kind of bring that edge to the corner position, and I think that's something that Belichick will appreciate. I just think he fits what they need. It's a big position of need. They lost J.C. Jackson last year. They've got some nice pieces there, but Cam Smith can probably be gotten in the second round. He's somebody that has a chance to be an impactful investment from day one, so I really think that the Patriots would be interested in Cam Smith. For the Jets, the one player that they need to draft is Broderick Jones, the tackle out of Georgia. I think he is probably going to be the last one available, if he even is available on the board when they're picking now at 15, since that Aaron Rodgers trade went through. There's a lot of teams that could potentially take a tackle. I think Broderick Jones is likely going to be the last of the really good ones, and I think that the Jets will need to scoop him up. Otherwise, you're going to have Dwayne Brown and maybe Mekhi Becton hopefully staying healthy. You just need to get some stability in front of Aaron Rodgers on that offensive line. I think Broderick Jones is the guy that they have to be targeting for him there. For the Cincinnati Bengals now, I have Tucker Kraft as the player that they need to draft. Coming from an FCS school, South Dakota State, I think he matches exactly what they would want in the tight end position. He's a great blocker. He absolutely dominated dudes, but he's also incredibly dangerous after the catch. They don't need somebody that can stretch the seam. They don't need somebody that is going to be mossing guys downfield. They already have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins for that. They need somebody that can turn, a 5-yard gain into a 10-yard gain and just be a reliable third down, middle of the field option. I think that's exactly what Tucker Kraft is, and he likely can be gotten in the second or third round. They've met with him as well, so definitely think that they should come out of this draft with Tucker Kraft at tight end. For the Browns, I have Siaki Ika, the defensive tackle out of Baylor. He is a little bit stubby, but he's got really good athleticism. I thought he showed some really nice flashes, and they desperately need to upgrade the interior of that defensive line. It's a train wreck, and you got to put somebody next to Myles Garrett, really let them get after the passer, plug up those running gaps, and I think that Siaki Ika could be a great start in doing so there. They just don't have much at all on the interior of that defensive line. I think Ika is probably going to be available when they're picking in the third round for the first time. And so he's just somebody that I think has shown some flashes, and the Browns could really kind of take advantage of and use him on the interior of that defense. For the Steelers, I have DeJuan Jones. I think he is probably going to be available for their first pick in the second round, the 32nd overall pick. I think you can get him at that spot. He's a high upside player. He is very long. He's very big, and I think he's going to be very hard to get through in the NFL. His foot speed is a little bit concerning, but I think because of that length, he's able to latch on guys even if he is a half step behind them. And so I think he's somebody that the Steelers would really like. They have kind of had a tie with Ohio State players. They seem to really like them. And I do think they have a big need at tackle. You probably could take a corner with the 17th overall pick, or maybe even trade up and then go get DeJuan Jones in the second, which I think would be a great draft for the Steelers. For the Ravens, I have Tyreek Stevenson, the corner out of Miami, Florida, that I think they should walk away from this draft with. He's very physical in press man coverage. That's exactly the kind of player that they really look for. I think he has some really good athletic tools, and he's just somebody that matches the Ravens culture. I do think that, he's kind of in that middle range where he's probably a little bit too early to take in the first, maybe in a trade down, maybe in a trade trade up in the second round, but I think Stevenson just matches exactly the kind of culture that they would like. And, if Joey Porter or Deonte Banks don't make it to him in the first round, he could be a great consolation prize. Moving on to the AFC South, we have the Colts. I have O'Cyrus Torrence as the player that they should walk away with. I just think that he fills such a massive need at that guard spot. You've got Quentin Nelson. Hopefully you can get Ryan Kelly playing better again. And then you go get O'Cyrus Torrence, who's just a beefy guy. He can be a great run blocker from day one. He can really protect whatever rookie quarterback they do end up bringing in as well. So I just think that makes a lot of sense to go ahead and solidify that offensive line as much as you can. Hopefully Ryman can be a good left tackle. And then you really kind of have a set offensive line that hopefully you can kind of build around and get them playing together really well. Torrance would be a great pick to just kind of finish that offensive line rebuild there and hopefully get the most out of the players around him. For the Jaguars, I have Brian Branch, the safety, defensive back, cornerback out of Alabama. He's who I've consistently mocked to the Jaguars at number 24 on a regular basis. I just think the fit, the team need, the player are just too perfect to pass up here for the Jaguars. I do think there's a good chance he is available, and I do think that it makes just tons of sense. They have a need at safety. They have a need at nickel corner. He can fill both of those roles kind of in a hybrid way. The Jaguars just get a high quality, high floor player in Brian Branch and really kind of help out that defense on the back end. For the Texans, one player I think could be a nice fit for them is Zach Harrison, the defensive end out of Ohio State. Really was not able to put everything together at Ohio State, but I think coming in, DeMeco Ryans is going to feel like he can get the most out of Harrison, and he has outrageous physical traits. He's super athletic, he's super big, very strong, just needs to put it all together on a consistent basis. I think he is somebody that you can get in the middle rounds, maybe somewhere from rounds 2 to 4, and really kind of develop him and turn him into the player that he could be based on his traits. For DeMeco Ryans, I think he's really going to enjoy a project like that, and you're not going to have to invest significant draft capital into really getting him. Probably going to be a mid-round pick and somebody that you can really hope may end up being well worth that investment. For the Titans, I have Jonathan Mingo, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss. I think there's a very good chance that he could potentially be their second round pick. They need a wide receiver help in the passing game. He's just somebody that provides size. They've had some success at the Ole Miss well before. Go ahead and go get, hopefully, what turns into A.J. Brown. That's pretty high standards there, but I do think Mingo has great traits. He's got some really impressive things that you look for in a high-end wide receiver prospect. It's just all about, once again, putting everything together. That's why he's not going to be a first-round pick, but I really like what he could potentially be for the Titans early on day 2, somebody that can be a good run blocker with his size, has great ability in the passing game. He'll just need a quarterback to throw to him now in Tennessee, but I think Mingo could be a great fit for the Titans. Moving on to the AFC West, we've got the Chargers. I've got Tyler Scott as my perfect fit for them. They desperately need speed, and Tyler Scott absolutely provides that. He's not going to be somebody that's going to go in the first round, probably not even round 2, but he's somebody that can just fly. He's just very dangerous. Once you get the ball in his hands, he's got great speed. He really can threaten vertically, and he's just somebody that would kind of unlock a new dimension of that Chargers offense. Next up for the Broncos, I have Byron Young as a very good fit for him, the edge out of Tennessee. There are 2 Byron Youngs in this class, but this one is from Tennessee. He's got speed, explosiveness, bend around the edge, the ability to really kind of threaten the quarterback on the outside shoulder of the tackle. I just think that, in the 3rd round, they've met with him. They need another defensive end to kind of bring to the pass rush. I just like what he can potentially be. And obviously no more Bradley Chubb, as you traded him to Miami last year. So I just think they need to continue to add to that well. I think Byron Young is a very fitting 3rd round pick. And he's definitely somebody that I can see as a Denver Bronco within their defense. For the Chiefs, I have Will McDonald, the 4th out of Iowa State. Really couldn't showcase a lot of his abilities at Iowa State based on how they played him. But he's absolutely got the athletic tools. I think he's got the speed, the burst. Once again, kind of that explosiveness around the edge and the ability to threaten the outside shoulder. For the Chiefs, that's very valuable as they did draft George Karlaftis last year. He's more of a power player, somebody that can win with bull rushes and moves of that nature. Getting a nice complementary piece like Will McDonald there, I think would be a very good decision for them and somebody that I think would be a very good pick at the end of round 1. He's also somebody that has met with the Chiefs multiple times as well, so definitely think that there is some smoke that potentially they could be interested in him and he ends up in Kansas City. For the Raiders now, I've got Mazi Smith, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, as the player that they need to go ahead and go get. He's somebody that is very athletic for his size. He provides some beef in the middle of that defense. Right now, they're set to start Bilal Nichols and Jerry Tillery at the defensive tackle position. That's not going to cut it. They need somebody on the interior that can really kind of be a force in the run game. He's got some athletic upside. Obviously, you've got to kind of put everything together with Mazi Smith. He was number 1 on Bruce Feldman's freak list, wasn't able to become like a dominant player, but definitely has the tools to be an awesome fit within that Raiders defense. Moving on to the NFC East now, Kalijah Kancey is my guy for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jordan Davis is one of the few defensive tackles you can put Kancey next to and really just not worry that much about the impact on the run game. Kancey's not going to be a great run stuffer, but he is absolutely unique when it comes to his pass rush ability. I think there's a decent chance that he is there at number 30 and somebody I would really like that pairing for. You got Jordan Davis, you got a great interior rusher with Kalijah Kancey now, pairing with the edge rushers they already have. Howie Roseman loves investing in the trenches. Howie Roseman loves getting pressure from his defensive tackles as well. And it is something that I think would make a lot of sense for the Eagles to go ahead and invest into, as I do think that they want to upgrade that other defensive tackle spot. For the Cowboys, I have J.L. Skinner, the safety out of Boise State. They really like drafting Boise State players. You think of Leighton Vander Esch, you think of DeMarcus Lawrence. There's definitely a little bit of a pipeline there, and I think that it makes a ton of sense to draft Skinner in perhaps the 3rd or 4th round. He could fill in for Jaron Kearse down the road, who's on the last year of his deal. They play very similar roles as a nice, hard-hitting box safety. He's willing to come up and, play physically at the line of scrimmage. Definitely just makes a lot of sense as a natural replacement in the middle rounds for Jaron Kearse. Coming from a well that they already know, it just makes a lot of sense for the Cowboys to go with Skinner in this draft. For the Washington Commanders, I have Deonte Banks, the corner out of Maryland. I think he's a better scheme fit than Joey Porter Jr. Banks just has the ability to play in pretty much any system in my mind. He can play in man coverage. He's very instinctive in zone as well. You just got to get those ball skills fully honed in, and then he's going to be a great player. He is my cornerback 3, somebody that I just have all the belief in the world that he is going to be a great player. Just the athletic tools, the upside, the instincts, everything is there for him to be a very good corner in the NFL. The scheme fit just makes perfect sense with the Commanders, and I think it is a big position of need as well. So the Washington Commanders need to go get Deonte Banks at number 16. For the Giants, they need size in the wide receiver room. A lot of people have been mocking Quentin Johnston there. I have before. I think Cedric Tillman, perhaps in the 2nd round, would be a great fit for him. Tillman is somebody that I think is very underrated in this class. I have rated above Jalen Hyatt, his teammate. I think Tillman is just a very good contested catch winner. I think he can separate with physicality. He showed that in the SEC. Got good hands in contested catch situations as well. Can catch in traffic. So really like what he can do. Think he would provide a different dimension to what the Giants already have in their wide receiver room. It's kind of a crowded room, but they need somebody that can go up and get it. Cedric Tillman would be that guy in the 2nd round and really like that fit for him. Moving to the NFC North, I have Keanu Benton as the fit for the Bears. They need some help on the interior of that defensive line. They don't have much of anything right now. I think both nose tackle and 3-tech need to be upgraded. Andrew Billings is pretty much their best defensive tackle at the moment, which is bad. And Keanu Benton is probably somebody they could get on day 2. And I just really like the upside of what he can do. I think, he's a very good nose tackle when it comes to shedding blocks, two-gapping, the ability to be disruptive in the run game. He's very good against outside zone. Thought he sifted through the defense very well and was able to make plays from the nose tackle position. He also showed some juice getting after the passer as well. He's definitely kind of a my guy in this draft and definitely somebody that I think the Bears could really, really benefit from having on their roster. For the Packers, Darnell Washington makes all of the sense in the world. They just acquired, kind of an early 2nd round pick from the Jets. I think they would totally be in on Darnell Washington if he is there at that point. He's got the size and crazy athleticism that I think they tend to look for. Really, Josiah DeGuara is the only tight end on the roster, and even he's kind of an H-back. They need to add to the tight end room. They want to run the ball the next year with Jordan Love at the helm, so I just think Darnell Washington makes so much sense with his ability as a blocker, his upside in the passing game, and just his ability to hopefully become something more in the receiving game. Just really like what he can potentially be for this Packers team. For the Vikings, I have Jaden Reed, the wide receiver out of Michigan State. He's probably somebody that could get in the third, maybe even fourth round, and definitely just like what he can be as a nice complementary piece for Justin Jefferson in this passing offense. I think Reed has very good route running ability. He can create separation. He has good hands. He's also a pretty good special teamer as well. So definitely just like what he can bring as an overall complete wide receiver. I definitely think that he can win from the slot. I think he can play outside as well. So just like what Jaden Reed could provide as a mid-round pick, add to the wide receiver room after you lose Adam Thielen. It's kind of a low-risk investment that I think could really pay off for the Vikings. For the Lions, I have Drew Sanders, the linebacker out of Arkansas. I do not believe in Alex Anzalone there. Malcolm Rodriguez is a fun player, but I'm not sure he's a long-term, super high-quality starter. I think Drew Sanders could be that. He needs to put all of the traits he has together, but he absolutely has the athletic tools. He's a very good blitzer as he was an edge rusher at Alabama, so definitely think he could bring you some juice in the pass rush game as well in a very poor man Micah Parsons role there. So definitely just like what he could bring to the Lions, add some creativity to that defense, add some real athleticism in the linebacker room, and somebody that could turn into one of the better linebackers in the NFL. I just think that makes a lot of sense. He's somebody that the Lions have met with. I think that Dan Campbell would like them as well, so definitely just a good fit there for the Lions. For the Saints, I've got Myles Murphy out of Clemson, the defensive end. I just think he fits exactly what they tend to like in their edge rushers, what they tend to like from that position. He's big, he's super athletic, he's very physical, and I do think he is a little bit underdeveloped, but I think the Saints can get the most out of him. They've proven they have been able to kind of develop defensive linemen. Marcus Davenport leaves in free agency. Cameron Jordan is getting older as he continues to age, so definitely think that they need to add to that room, and Myles Murphy, if he is still there, would be a slam dunk pick for them at number 29. For the Falcons, I've got Derek Hall, the edge rusher out of Auburn. He did meet with the team. I think they need to continue to add a little bit to that pass rush. I think Hall can be gotten in the second or third round, and he's just somebody that really converts speed to power very effectively. They've got Arnold Ebiketie and D'Angelo Malone last year. Both are very good speed rushers. I think Derek Hall is somebody that can really come in, be a speed to power rusher, provide that little bit of a different element to that pass rush game, and just be a nice complementary piece as they continue to upgrade that defensive line. For the Panthers, I've got Josh Downs, the wide receiver out of UNC. I think you need to surround your young rookie quarterback, probably going to be Bryce Young, with as many receiving threats as possible. You've already got DJ Chark to be your field stretcher. You've got Adam Thielen to be your contested catch player. Go get Josh Downs to be your slot separator, and really just somebody that is very reliable at consistently getting open, has great ability to just fake out the defender, manipulate them, and find space in open zones, just beat man coverage. Just really like what he can be as a nice underneath separator. He's also somebody that will go up and get it, even if he is shorter than that corner. You can run slot fades with him. He's just a nice piece that I think Bryce Young would really appreciate in the second round. For the Buccaneers, one of my favorite players, Felix Anudike-Uzomah, the edge rusher out of Kansas State. I think you can probably get him in round 2. They need to add to the pass rush. He has some of the best arsenal of pass rush moves in the class, just can go to a lot of different things. I think he is relatively polished. They did visit with him, and I think it would be a great pick. He is an underrated player in this class, and I definitely think that he's somebody that would be able to add to the pass rush. You don't have to invest a first round pick in him, and he's just somebody that I think would be a nice addition to a rotation with Shaq Barrett and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. Just kind of get more pass rushers in there. Felix would be a great pick for him. For the Cardinals, I think Zach Pickens, the defensive tackle out of South Carolina, makes a ton of sense. They desperately need to add to the front seven. It is so bad after J.J. Watt left, Chandler Jones left. They've just pretty much got nothing there. They did visit with Pickens. He could be a really great pick. He's got some great athletic tools. Jonathan Gannon's not going to stand for a terrible front seven. I think that Pickens is somebody you could probably get round 3 and just be a nice developmental piece. Hopefully you could get the most out of him moving forward and turn a mid-round investment into a quality starter. For the Seahawks, I have John Michael Schmitz, the center out of Minnesota. They've been heavily connected to him throughout this process. I think there's a very good chance that he is their pick in the early second round. I just think he's very polished. And you got your bookend tackles last year in the draft. Go get that middle of the interior of the offensive line solidified in John Michael Schmitz. I think he brings some nastiness in the run game, can really run behind him with Kenneth Walker. Just provide as much support for Geno Smith as you possibly can. And they've got a lot of other picks, but John Michael Schmitz would be a great one and a team fit that makes a ton of sense there for him as well. For the Rams, I think Israel Abanikanda, the running back out of Pitt, makes loads of sense. He's probably somebody you can get in the 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th round. He fits the wide zone Shanahan style offense perfectly. And I do think the Rams are probably going to be in the market for a running back. Cam Akers and the Rams had a bit of tension last year. Even if it did get somewhat resolved, I don't think he was a very good player this past year as well. So Abanikanda, getting him in the 4th round or so, I think that's kind of a low risk investment. He fits the scheme super well. He's just 20 years old. He was uber productive in college. Just makes a lot of sense for the Rams to go that direction and hopefully get their running back in the future on probably early day 3. Finally, for the 49ers, I have Jamie Robinson, the safety out of Florida State. He visited with the team. I think it would make a lot of sense to bring him in, be a special teamer. He's physical around the box. He could compete with Tashawn Gibson at that safety spot, probably just be a nice role player early on. But the 49ers don't have a pick until round 3. They have 3 of them in like 4 picks, but definitely think that he could potentially be one of them. Just a nice, athletic box safety that can really kind of play and be a nice player for them on special teams and kind of all around the formation on that back end there. Who do you think would be a perfect fit for your favorite NFL team? Let me know down below. Who do you want your team to draft as well? If you like this kind of content, please hit that subscribe button down below. Helps push this video out to other NFL draft fans just like you and supports the channel. Free and easy way to do so. Thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks.